Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Get the Scoop. My name is Armand, and I'm one of the co-founders of Career Scoops. And today I'm joined with Flo. How are you, Flo?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
How is life when working as a senior director of construction for theme parks?
Oh, it's pretty busy. It's pretty busy. A lot of responsibility, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I always tell people, I really don't go to work. I go to play, right? Because I mean, what's more fun than making fun, right? For the
Yeah,
rest of the people. So that's my life. I love what I do, and it's challenging. It's unique. We're always pushing the envelope with technology, with products, with things. I just finished a Nintendo Land in Hollywood, which it was a tremendous challenge because it's bringing a video game to a theme park reality, and but we succeeded. And that's your life every day. You always have something to look to forward to.
mhm. Yeah, that's really cool because I'm really interested in like new parks and like Nintendo Land and stuff like that. And I'm also
Mhm.
wondering, you say you have a lot of fun, but like, what does your day-to-day life actually look like, or is it different like every day?
It's similar on certain days, but it changes every day, right? 'Cause right now we're building a humongous park. One of the It's a totally new park that was the reason they brought me from Hollywood to here to Florida, the new Epic Universe. So I'm on charge of 200 acres of fun, right? So it changes depending on where the challenges and the subjects are. My part of my responsibility is to go to every land, get every attraction, and then see what is missing, what is working, what is not working, and support the team and remove all the obstacles so they can keep doing amazing things. So it changes every day, but basically there is sidewalks every day, right? Because this is something that you cannot do it from the computer, right? You got to be present, approve the products, approve the finishes. I mean, there is an aspect or the heavy aspect of that on top of the life safety. So every day we have walks, and then we have a lot of meetings which is the problem solving meetings. When the right engineer come over, the facade designer come over, right? The architects come over, and everybody come together, and then my job is to orchestrate that to get us to resolve the problem. So it changes every day. One day you could be at a Harry Potter land with certain challenges that are very unique to that IP and that attraction. And one day you could be on the Nintendo land, or another Monster land with a totally different subjects. Every land is totally different. Similarities on technology, but some of them are pushing the boundaries way farther than others. So those rides are the unique things that that sometimes, and because what we do, we are always on a process of discovery, right? We start with an idea and we say, okay, we're going to make the car jump. We don't know how the car is going to jump, but we think if we do this, if we do that, maybe we make it jump, and then you get to that through that process. So it's a constant resetting the bottom for yourself. You're always resetting the bottom, right? Like, okay, we get to reset. That didn't work. Okay, what other technology? What can we do? What can we push? What makes it safe? How can we read the data? So it changes. But that's what makes it fun, right? Because those changes, you don't know your day is not gonna be today like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be something there for you to resolve, to challenge that probably you have never encountered before.
That's really cool. It seems like it takes a lot of innovation and creativity like every day, especially because
It's every day. That's
like
right.
I love theme parks and I love going to new rides that have new innovations on them. So that's really cool that this
We
is the
will have you
mindset
to come over when we open the park.
to Epic when it does.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course I'm gonna come. It's
2025, spring of 2025. We are on target for
That's great. I'll be there as soon as 2025 then.
it. Yeah.
And now I'm a bit curious. How did you pursue this career and what schooling have you done?
Actually, at that time, I discovered by accident. Well, first, I discovered what I wanted to be when I was 12. My mother was German, my father is Spanish, so I was half raised in Barcelona, half raised in Berlin. So, but my mother was always an opera lover and an art lover, and my dad. And we used to go to the opera to Vienna a lot. And one day I was 12 years old, 13 years old, and I saw this gigantic set in an opera at the main opera house in Vienna. And I was just amazed. So my mother started looking at me because I was in awe, right? To see this thing, the boat disappeared, water appeared on the stage, then suddenly disappeared, and the stage turned into a city. And then my mother thought that I wanted to be the singer, the opera singer. I said, okay, we're going to put you to classes. I said, no, no, mom, that's not what I want to do. I said, I want to be the guy that make the boat disappear, the city show up, the whole entire background change. That's what I want to be. And at that time, theme park didn't exist. It was everything was copied from theater and movie films. So most of the people started there. So me, I was going, then I went to NYU for architecture. Then I did 2 years of theater design and 2 years of engineering because I always wanted to have three careers because I was when I was starting getting more mature on the career, I used to have this conversation with engineers, and they always have an object that I don't need. See, I don't want more columns. I want this thing to feel like it floats, right? So I say, okay, I'm going to calculate it myself. So I went and do a little bit of that so that way I could question that. But I knew very early at 12 years old that I wanted to do this. This didn't exist. Today it exists in certain colleges, like now in California, that is career to design theme parks. I know in New York that it's a career to design theme parks and theater. But when I graduated in 1991, it didn't exist. What they used to do, they pick people that have film background, theater background, and architecture. That's typically was what Disney, Universal, and all those companies used to do. That's where you go and get those people. And then I got picked by Disney 1 year before I graduated, which I was pretty excited because oh, I'm going to have a job and I'm not even finished. So, and then I graduated in 1991. I moved to Orlando at the end of 1991, beginning of 1992. And I spent 7 years at Disney. And then those 7 years, I did my last project was the Animal Kingdom. I was the guy who built the first 43 exhibit for the Animal Kingdom. It was an amazing project. I did Blizzard Beach, and I did MGM and Worldwide of Sports. And I ended up in this really by accident because the people that hired me thought I got something. I mean, it helps that I did have the design background, and I also had the construction experience. All my summer jobs, I did construction to learn how to put things together. So with that, coupled with that, then I discovered that the career necessarily was not just all drafting, right, and drawing. That it has so many different venues where to go. And my boss at that time was Michael Eisner was running Disney. My boss was Walter Wodolewski, which was Michael Eisner's right hand. So I used to work for him. He was a great mentor to me. And he basically believed that I could manage all the thing. And I thought, I don't know that I can manage 120 people, right? Because, but he just threw me there and supported me and I made it happen. And then from being just designing, I little by little, the progress of my career started to take control of everything. And I know, and that's what I do today. I take control of everything. But it was an accident that I discovered it. But once I found it, I say, okay, this matches my dream. This is what I want to do. Because, it was very similar to what I saw in Vienna when I was 12 years old. So that for me was, it was like I got lucky, but I also worked hard. So, but I got very lucky that I got picked. Then my boss quit Disney when Universal started their major growth. So I built Islands of Adventure. So he makes me quit Disney. I told her, I don't know that I want to quit this. I love what I'm doing here. I say, this is going to be bigger. You're going to play a bigger role. And I want you to come with me because you can design and you can build. So I went to Universal, and ever since I've been to Universal since 1999.
Wow.
And I've been with Universal all around the world, living my dream.
Yeah, that's really cool. I never would have related like before today that like theater and like theme parks are kind of really similar. But now that you
Yeah,
put that thought in my head, I realize it. It's like you're building the sets, you're providing entertainment, and you
yeah,
feel like a sense of accomplishment when you see people like enjoying it. That's really.
yeah.
Can you give me an example, by the way, of some places you've traveled like around the world for Universal?
Well, we have a park in Osaka, which I helped build. I live in Osaka for 3 years almost. I live in Singapore. We have another one in Singapore, which I helped build too. I built one in Euro, so I went back home to Euro because they bought a park that used to, a portion owned by SeaWorld and a Spanish bank like CaixaBank and Universal. It's called Universal Studios Portaventura. So I became the project director there for 7 years. Then at that was when I wasn't from Orlando. I went to Europe. From there, I went to Japan, to Osaka. From Osaka, I went to Singapore. From Singapore, I went to Emirates because we were trying to build a park there. And then the economy changes. And then we came back to the US. And then I went to Hollywood. And then I spent the last 8, 9 years there. I did 2.5 billion worth of development for Hollywood. And that's when we built the last Nintendo attraction and the last Harry Potter. I was the guy on charge of the construction for all those. And then they decided to move forward with this park. And then my boss immediately said, I need you here. You're the guy with experience. I need you to be my senior director of construction. And I moved here on 2022, 2022, end of 2022. Yeah. End of 2021, November 2021, by the way, sorry, November 2021. And I came here to do this epic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait for like Nintendo Land to be here too, by the way. That's something I've
Yeah.
been looking
And
at.
this one is gonna be better because it's bigger and more there is more play to do.
Wow. Yeah, just can't wait to see it. I mean, I love Islands of Adventure, so it's
Yeah.
my favorite
I
part.
I built Zeus Landing there. That was my land, the entire land. I built that land. Then the portion of Lost Continent, Ritz of Falls, and the main offices. And then when I finished, they sent me to Europe.
That's really cool that you go around the world under like Universal.
Yeah, it's an experience, You understand?
Yeah.
And I went in China too. We just when I went to Hollywood, they sent me to China for 6 or 8 months. We just finished building a park there that just opened too.
Cool. And
Yeah.
so moving on to my next question, what are your like absolute favorite parts of the job? And then what are some parts of the job you actually like are not a fan of, like some of your least favorite parts?
Well, there is some administrative part that I don't like it. Like I had to deal a lot with lawyers, right, and contracts.
Mhm.
That part is not fun. You need to do it, it needs to be done, but that part is not really fun. And then the other part that is not that much fun either is the financials, right? But you got to deal with the financials, right? We're building here, we're spending almost $7 billion on this part, so you got to deal with the finance. Those are, I would say, the least fun because have a lot of complexity, but there is no room for creativity, right? Numbers are numbers, I know, and contracts are contracts. So there is very little room for creativity there. So that takes the part that I love the most, which is dealing with the creative thing and the
Yeah.
invention. So those things become administrative things, right? But you have to deal with it because now you are the head, you're running the show, you're responsible for it. Those are the one that I like. The thing that I like the most, that I enjoy the most in my career is when we finish, I typically take my whole team and we sit at one of the bar of restaurants and see the guests come in. That is probably the most rewarding thing that our career have, and sometimes meeting people that want to meet somebody that built this, right? And some of the team members, when they find, one of those young kids or one of those child that they're amazed for, they say, okay, I want you to meet something, and they bring it to my table, and then we talk to them, and you could see providing happiness for that many people. People go to our park to have fun, to enjoy, to forget about the rest of their life. It's a great gift to give back. And on top of that, you get paid for it and have fun,
Yeah.
right? So, so that's the best part for me.
That's great to hear. Like just seeing the reward from like the hard work you put in, and
Yeah,
you enjoy like pretty much almost every step of the process, other than the
yeah.
non-creative parts. But that's still really cool. And last couple questions. So, if there was someone like me that wants to pursue this career, what advice would you tell them right now?
The first thing, and I always tell people, because my mother sat me and told me this. I mean, we were 7 children, and one of the major requests is say, kids, you got pick something that you love. I'm not gonna tell you to do. So if you're gonna go to this because it's really hard, it's not easy. It's very hard no matter what position you have on this business because of the unknown or the pushing the boundary on the creativity. And you're always in a situation that sometimes you don't know today how you're gonna come out, right? So you find yourself a lot of tough moments. So the first thing that I would tell you, if you're gonna do theme parks, make sure this is what you love to do. Call it what you really love to do in your career. Because no matter what you pick, you're always gonna have those moments. You're gonna have difficult people around too, right? That you need to manage. So you're always gonna have something at every job that at some point doesn't work. But when you do when you love what you're doing, it makes all that thing go easier and faster. So for me, my advice is make sure that it's really what you really want to do because you're gonna be that. And second, if you're into that, grow your people skills. Some people have this misconception that the technical skill is gonna get you through. Yes, the technical skill you're gonna need it, but the process for Team Party is so collaborative, so collaborative. Like my guys design, my engineer design rockets and submarines when we do water parks, right? So you got to know how to communicate with them to keep them also excited. But then you have on the other hand an artist that you are the intermediary in between those two people, and they speak totally different language. The engineer is not interested on the art guy. Yeah, no, that's a lot of dreaming, dude. My stuff is science based, right? So you got to merge all that. So the acquire the skill on the field that you want, but if you really want to go to the highest level, like mine, and control the whole process and enjoy every bit of it, then you need to develop your people skills. And I said this in the world today is so important now. So important because everything is very collaborative now. All the system, even the technology that we have, the social media, everything is collaborative now. But in the theme park, that's a thing. Like it's real there. There is no way to escape it. You don't talk to somebody, something could go wrong. Everybody needs to talk. Everybody, and we as human, no, we are not great at that sometimes, and some people doesn't want to talk to other people. And you are that guy that make all that thing happen, that communication happen, and get all that people there. If you are that guy, you probably will be always requested for the next project.
That's really cool to hear. Like,
Yeah.
so the developing people skills in this environment, because you're right, in a theme park, there's a lot of responsibility, and yeah, you're just, I guess, forced to, but at a certain point, you like to talk to other people, and you
Yeah.
want your accomplishments be as good as possible, because that you'll get that feeling of happiness.
Mhm.
Would you tell your younger self anything specifically, or would you
Yeah,
just,
I always repeated in my head when I was a younger self, I want to be part of something magical or something big, right? Always, that was my dream. I didn't want to be, if I say, if I'm going to be an architect, I don't want to be an average architect. I want to be, Skidmore over and Merritt or Frank Lloyd Wright. I wanted to do like things like that. I would never, but that I'm glad that you mentioned that because repeating yourself, as you grow, it solidified your path. So that's something that I always did. And I was very lucky too that my parents were very clear. And when I was deviating a little bit from something, they brought me back to it. And I said, this is what you said you wanted to do. You're going to be. Now it's getting harder. You're going to quit because of that. and then right, so and then brought me back. But repeating myself, every time I took that step forward, that, oh my God, I was able to do this. Oh my God, I think I could do that. I think I could. No, it helped me with my self doubt sometimes. Like sometimes when you, like the first time I became a project director, I was very afraid, very worried, because I said, I'm not prepared for this. I don't even know what that job entitled. The way it is described to me sound like I'm responsible for everything. How am I going to do that, right? Because I became the youngest director on the company at 30 years old. That's when they sent me to Europe. And that was a big moment. But, when I was telling my younger self, oh, yes, you can do it. You already do. I always say, that's what you want to do. That's what you love to do. You're having fun with it. So I always repeat myself that when I was younger, and that helped me to stay in the path. And I didn't allow any thoughts or any influence from anybody, because some people sometimes they were trying to influence Flo, but if you become a lawyer, you can make more money. Flo, if you become this is it. And I kept telling myself, no, but I know what my dad told me. If I become good at something, and I'm one of the best at what I do, I will get paid well regardless. Because that's what my father says. He said, you just have to be good at something. There is famous shoemakers, there is famous clothes designers, there is famous things on everything. If you are one of those top 10, top 15, you will always be fine. And I always kept repeating myself that in my head, my younger self. You are on the right path. You believe in this, stay on it, stay on it, stay on it. Because sometimes I had the the that inclination to deviate because it gets hard, or I don't think I'm making as much progress as I should have. Especially when I was 18, 20, I found myself on those spots. And also because I also got offered other opportunities that at that time looked more lucrative on the financial side. And then that kind of clouded my thoughts, right? But repeating to my younger self always, no, this is not what you want to do. I know there is more money there. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is what you love to do. I'm going to find it. And that helped me to stay in it.
That's amazing to hear. Uh, Obviously, I'm gonna go through my own career exploration journey, and I think what you've told me is something that I think a lot of people should be repeating through their heads as well. That you just need to be confident in what you're doing and be sure that what you want to do in life is something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So, and my last question, what are some personal benefits you have gained from having this career?
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. It gave me a lot of confidence. No, also I discovered something about myself in my 30s that sometimes I didn't believe that I could do certain things. And then through the process, I discovered that I could do it all. So it has taught me not to be afraid of the new, not to be afraid of the challenges, not to be afraid of the changes. And that was a big gift that the career had gave me to me, because I applied that through my whole entire life, on my relationships, when something changed, on my whole entire process, on the way I live. I learned that through the career path, because you're forced to it. Like now, for instance, I'm updated on I know what the younger generation music they like. I can even sing it, right? Because I had to be in tune with that. So it helps you to stay young, what their preference are, what their colors are, what their fashion is. The stuff that probably if I didn't go through this career path, I never would have discovered. But it did help me to grow not only on that professional aspect but on the personal aspect. But the biggest gain, I think, it was confidence. And I don't doubt myself too much in my life, on most of the decisions that I make. If I go and do something, whether it's something simple, I enjoy the process, but I also don't doubt it. I say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to wash the car, so we're going to wash it the best that we can wash it, right? So in everything you apply that, and that's the biggest gain that I had. That's the biggest gain.
Thank you for telling me. So confidence gain is just it sounds so key to the current job you have right now and all sorts of personal aspects as well. That's just really cool that you've gained this over the years. And so that'll be it. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this week's Get the Scoop. Be sure to leave any questions you have in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to answer it. I personally really love this conversation. And anyways, join us next time to Get the Scoop.